Another part of the elements that we thought were crucial to the first movie were the locations. We took people to the real places, we didn't fake them.
Audience members got to see places they would never get to see in Europe or in other parts of the world.
We had to go to a new place. It had to be Europe, because I think one of the things that's most interesting about the story is that it's played out in the streets of Europe, and there's something interesting about Bourne being an American at Europe, and it increases his sense of isolation.
We picked Berlin kind of with an homage to the old spy stories that had come out of Berlin.
Berlin is quite a different city. It's a flat city, and it's wide, and it's about space and loneliness, and there's less places to hide.
Berlin is the absolute quintessential city to shoot this stuff in, because this was this divided city, this kind of enclave, this kind of preserved area of where the East-West conflict was kind of focused.
I loved it. I love Berlin. I loved it. It's a great place to shoot.
Berlin has been really wonderful, and the city is incredibly historic, and I really had a wonderful time being here and working on this particular film here.
You want to go home? Find Jason Bourne.
And then came Moscow, because we wanted to do something unusual in our journey.
We went to the studio and we said, we're going to ask you to take a risk on a couple other places.
What train is that? That's the train to Moscow.
And I don't think there was anyone in the room who had ever made a movie in Moscow.
Law and order is being established, but there's this immense, brutal kind of underworld there too. A great place for a conflicted character like Bourne to come. A place of uncertainty and danger and opportunity. But also, oddly, a very truthful place, because it's white and there's snow.
It was also during the winter, so the light was short and the weather was very, very cruel and cold and bitter, and so it presented a lot of production challenges.
I'm from Boston. I go, I'm used to cold winters. But the coldest we ever were was in Moscow in October. Moscow was just freezing. I mean, truly cold.
At one point with Dan, I was rigging on the roof, and it was snowing so bad that you put your hand on the truss and you'd stick to it. You couldn't touch things because you were stuck to it.
The third element was, okay, where are Bourne and Marie? We thought they'd gone further off the grid, so I said, how about India? And Tony said, great, let's look in India, and we found this place, Goa.
It is kind of hippie, huge hippie community there, and a lot of people, you get the sense, got there and realized that it was paradise and never want to leave.
That's twice now. I've seen the same guy. I saw him in town. He was at the telegraph office.
I thought it was an absolutely exuberant place, and you feel an energy unlike you feel in a Western city. It's just unbelievable, the sense of human energy, I guess, and the restlessness of the place. And I thought that was a great backdrop to start a restless, tormented Bourne.
I'm not somebody who likes to make sweeping generalizations about 1 billion people, but in terms of the thousands that I met there, I just got a feeling from them of warmth that I really was remarkable.
When you shoot in a place like India, it was very complicated and chaotic in parts.
Well, the first time in my career, we actually had a herd of oxen break through a lockup, and we had to stop shooting to let the oxen clear the bridge.
And it's so hot, and I was wearing a wig, and sometimes we'd get in the car, I didn't even know what we were doing exactly. We were so out of it because it was so hot.
There were a lot of people there who didn't know we were making a movie. They didn't know, it's like they had their lives. When you, for instance, lock down traffic, people just immediately started honking.
The minute we throw up a camera, as quickly as we try, suddenly we'll have a crowd of 500 people, and they're all staring at us. We have to keep them from looking at the camera, and that's the hardest part. So we tend to try and hide the camera, go on long lenses, and be as stealthy as we can.
So it was a learning experience for a lot of the European or American ADs on the movie. We're going like, my God, this is a challenge unlike any I've ever faced.
Beats the heck out of freezing to death in Moscow and Berlin.